Hello everyone, my name is Carola Lehmacher, and today I want to share some best practices for exam preparation. I created this to help all of you with access to the mock exam simulator platform to get the most out of the materials and the platform themselves. We know that sometimes it can feel like a lonely journey, and sometimes we feel overwhelmed with all the material that is available to us. So hopefully this quick presentation will serve as guidance to you. Before we get started, I just wanted to share a brief disclaimer with you. As you know, the simulator platform is an independent initiative that was created to help users of the platform to prepare for the oral certification of the federal certification exam, the oral component specifically. We have no affiliation, neither with Prometric nor with the AOC. All of the materials were created based on our own experiences taking the oral exam, as well as our experience in the professional field. The mock exams and the scoring units were developed based on the latest version of the examination manual published by the AOC. You can find the examination manual on the AOC website or on the Prometric website, and I highly encourage you to read through it to get a better idea of what the expectations are. Obviously, we cannot guarantee that you will pass the exam, even if you practice with these mock exams on the simulator platform, but we hope that using these materials will get you a step closer to achieving this goal. And also, please note that the creators of the materials are not official raters or evaluators of the federal exam, and these exams have not been authorized for use by any certifying body. So let's get to what concerns us today. And the first thing when you're preparing for an exam, you need to create a study plan. My suggestion would be that you count the number of weeks that you have left until the exam, that you exclude or cross out any weeks you already know you're not going to have time to study, either because you're taking a vacation or you have family visiting or you're already fully booked. So count those weeks and then decide how many hours per week you will dedicate to studying. And those hours can vary per week, doesn't have to be the same amount of hours, but you should hold yourself accountable to the number of hours that you decide to just study in a week. So if you say, okay, week 1, I'm going to study for 2 hours, week 2, I'm going to study for 3 hours, week 3, I'm going back to 2 hours. You put those hours on specific days in your calendar and you block out that time. And that is a commitment to yourself and to your study plan, and those commitments should not be moved. So, example of how you can best take advantage of these materials. So day 1, you may want to take the mock exam. Obviously, always remember to record yourself. That is extremely important. It is hard to evaluate our own performance if we have no recording of ourselves. Nobody likes to listening to themselves, so if you find a study buddy, that could be a good option for you to have somebody else review your recordings and you review those of the other person. But even if you have somebody reviewing your recordings, listen to yourself as well, because I'm sure that you will take note of a lot of things that you can correct just by listening to your recordings. And I'm referring to things like mumbling or not speaking clearly or having a lot of fillers. Maybe on day 2 of your plan, you decide that you want to dedicate time to review your mock exam recording. And then on day 3, you will review the vocabulary and study the vocabulary, try to incorporate and activate it. And then on day 4, you repeat exactly that same mock exam. You obviously don't want to overwhelm yourself, but it is really important that you take advantage of the platform and all of the materials and just try to avoid just rushing through them. You're going to get more out of it if you dive deeper and if you repeat the exercises either independently or if you repeat the mock exam as a whole. I would say at least 2 or 3 times. And again, you can dedicate as much or as little as you want to it, and you're going to get as much or as little out of it depending on the commitment that you have with your practice time. So for each mock exam, you will need between 45 minutes and an hour. You will need about the same time to review your mock exam with the scripts and the scoring units, maybe a little bit more, because sometimes you will have to pause your recordings. Maybe you find some other terminology that is not part of the scoring units that you also need to research. And then when you review and you study vocabulary exclusively, that could probably be a shorter study session. But remember that vocabulary should not only be studied by heart, but also in context, so that then you don't know how to use the vocabulary that you have activated by studying it. So how do we go about tackling these mock exams? First of all, prepare. Have everything you need ready to go. Do not interrupt in the middle thinking, oh, this is just practice. Put yourself in the exam mode or exam mindset, however you want to call it, and have everything ready. Have your recording device, have a glass of water, have your papers ready for the consecutive portion of the note-taking. And then turn the recorder on. It doesn't matter if you leave it on in the beginning for maybe 5 minutes or so until you get ready, comfortable, and set up. Just press that button from beginning to end so that you don't forget about it. Then actually do the test. And after you do the test, reflect upon how it went. How are you feeling? Which sections do you think that you actually did well in? What challenges did you stumble across? Do some little bit of brain jumping, as we call it. Just take out a piece of paper and write down those things that came to mind first. Sometimes what the feelings that we have are not reflected later on in our recording when we evaluate ourselves, but it's really useful to get a general notion on how it went right after taking the exam. Then, of course, you need to listen to your recording. Look for areas of improvement, not only in relation to the scoring units, but your overall performance. Do you need to work on your interpreting skills? What about your memory? Are you stuttering a lot? Are you correcting yourselves often? Is there any additional vocabulary that you need to research? And then you go and do your vocabulary research, and then you practice the exam sections independently. You focus on incorporating the vocabulary, and maybe you even want to do some side translation with the scripts for the simultaneous exercises. And then you repeat and you practice. And you do it as many times as you need until you feel that your performance is really up to par and that you have incorporated the vocabulary and that you have overcome the main hurdles in the exam. This doesn't mean that you need to get extremely nitpicky. Try to find overall areas of improvements that you can work on. For example, if you're struggling with verb tenses, maybe repeat those just to make sure that you got them down. If you struggle with fillers, maybe that is an area of focus for you. And after you've done that, then move on to the next exam. I think that you can easily dedicate between 5 to 10 hours of study time to each of these exams, and you have still not fully gotten all of the juice out of them. So as I said before, do as little or as much as you want or as you can. Sometimes we have a lot of other constraints in our daily lives. This is in no way meant to put pressure on you. This is just to encourage you to give the best use to these materials, because we know that it requires a lot of effort on your side to be able to take advantage of this platform. I'm not only talking about financial effort, but also time and motivation. So with that, I wish you the best of luck on this journey to prepare for the oral component of the federal certification exam. There is my website and the website on which you can find the platform, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Have a wonderful day, and as I said before, best of luck to you.